would you describe, or would you even be willing to accept that neo-romanticism is black music?
Black music.
Black music.
I'm laughing because of
or or
Joshua's
or
face.
or I guess in better terms, a part of black culture.
I would say it's not, actually. I would say, because it's not culturally influenced by that. What I would say is that when it comes to the drum elements, because some songs, Figure It Out, for example, I feel like some parts of that, I would say it's subconsciously influenced. Like the drums in Figure It Out are pretty like boom, boom, pa, boom, pa. You know, it's like, when I was making it, it kind of felt really ethnic to me, and and some of the drums that I use, even in the songs I'm working on at the moment, kind of sound a bit ethnic. So there's a little bit of that influence there, and I'm not like intent. Well, it depends on the song, but so like Figure It Out, I did want it to be a little bit ethnic, but it was more like Saudi Arabian sounding. But I'm not intentionally trying to sound ethnic, but I think it's just coming out in the way that I play, maybe due to, like I said, culture, you know, upbringing subconsciously. But besides that, the majority of the influence, you know, alternative rock, classical music, a lot of the composers from classical music are like, you know, they're white people. It's not, you know, white people. So it's not like my influences are not black or not African, so I wouldn't call my music African either.
Interesting.
I'm just asking because you know what I'm saying. You look at t-shirts that was invented by a white guy. The internet was invented by a white guy. Jazz invented by a black guy. Hip hop invented by a black guy. This is black. You know what I'm saying. This is a part of black culture. So when a black person, so wouldn't with that in mind, wouldn't you say that you making a new genre, inventing a new genre, you know what I'm saying, regardless of the influence, because I'm sure that, say, jazz had some kind of influence from, like, maybe even the classical music that was before that era. But would you say that, you know what I'm saying, with that in mind, that you inventing a new genre is, you know what I'm saying, something to be put in, something to be accepted as, this is part of black culture now.
I wouldn't call it part of black culture because when I look at, I mean, like, when I look at what I'm trying to create, what I'm trying to do, I don't see ethnicity or culture or anything. Like, I don't
Yeah,
see
and I
it.
don't, I don't, I don't expect you to. I'm not saying that, but
Yeah, I mean, someone might see it as okay, since I'm, you know, I don't like calling myself black because it's just like logically speaking. I mean, like, look.
What, you're brown?
Yeah, logically speaking, I'm actually brown, dark
yeah, I
brown,
think we, I
whatever.
think we all know that, Josh.
I know, but like, of course, culturally, you'd expect to I call myself black, so whatever. Like,
Yeah, just yeah.
I thought someone was coming.
what was I saying? Someone might see, or me being a black guy, and I've created this new genre or this new movement called Neo-Romanticism. By that, associating me with being black, then that means that the movement must be a culturally
Black.
black thing or
No, no, I'm
black.
not saying that. That oh, that it's you have to put it in it. You have to put it in. You know what I'm saying? The black community or something like that. I'm thinking just by you being black, it's already ingrained in that culture. It's already in that. You know what I
Like
mean?
moving forward with life
Yeah, it's
in
already.
history.
I don't know about history, but I guess so. It's already in that culture. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm doing art, right? I guess you could say some of my art is anime. That is a part of Japanese culture. You get what I'm saying? That is me doing uh, progressing Japanese culture. So in the same way,
But
since that was invented by Japanese people.
yes.
So you're saying by me creating, you want to know that by me creating a new genre and me being black, do I think that that means that that
Genre.
genre is going to be?
Is a part of. I'm not saying that it should be accepted by black, that it should only be accepted by black people, or
But
that
it is a
or
part
that
of black culture by
yeah,
definition of it being created by a black person.
yeah, because you know what I'm saying, because what do you call it, classical music, right, created by white people, yet so many people, regardless of ethnicity, listen to classical music, yourself included. You get what I'm saying? But it is still a part of white culture.
I wouldn't even call myself a product of black culture just because of my skin color, though.
That-
Because I've been primarily influenced by Western society. I've had a Western upbringing for majority. Okay, well, kind of. Well,
What do you
I've
mean
grown up in a
majority? Your
Western
entire
world.
life.
I've grown up in a Western world, even though I might not have had a most Westernized upbringing, because where our parents raised us. But that being said, I just don't. Even with classical music, I don't associate that with a particular culture. I'm not thinking about white music.
I'm not. I'm not.
I'm not
I'm
thinking
not.
about classical music and thinking about white people.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, exactly. And I'm not, because I'm not saying to like consciously keep that in mind, but I'm just saying like as something to, is that something that you would accept, or like know, like, you know what I mean? Not just consciously whenever you're making music, whenever you're putting it out. Oh yeah, this is for the black people. This is for no. That's not what I'm saying.
I mean, of course, it's something that is. I mean, it's something that I can't change. You know what I'm saying? So of course it's something I can be aware of. I can't really change that.
Yeah, that aware of.
Well, I'm choosing. Well, I don't say I'm choosing, but I guess I am choosing. No, I don't even say I'm choosing. I'm just subconsciously like I don't. I'm not aware of like I'm not being aware of it. Like I'm not thinking about that sort of thing, and I'm not letting it influence me in any way. I don't want it to be to influence me in any way because I want the music I make to be authentic. Where I don't really care about where it's coming from, in terms of, like I haven't really been even in general. This is gonna sound kind of lack of status quo. Like it's gonna sound a bit. What is it? What's that word? Out of pocket. But I wouldn't say I'm a guy who really cared much for culture, in like culture in general.
You mean like how people are so like, is it pious? Is the right word? How people are so like
I mean, I look,
patriotic about it?
yeah, I'm not much of a nationalist, or I'm not like even with my own culture, I don't feel like I'm very connected to it, and I don't think like that's a bad thing. Like I don't really care, so I wouldn't like where someone has a cultural background or influence. Like I don't really care much about that. What I care about is what I'm creating and where it's coming from and how authentic it is. That's the only thing I care about. I don't really let the cultural influences affect me, and I never really cared much about culture in general from a young age. So that's why I say it's like it's not something that I'm like I just don't be aware of it because I don't really care.
I mean,
Interesting.
I, I'm not gonna speak on that second part about not ever caring for culture. But I will say that because it's a different discussion. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like talking about like you personally, not the art.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't I don't think that you should keep that in mind when creating your art. You get what I mean? I don't think that that is something that you should be aware of or be thinking about or any of that while you're making your art. Only reason where you should is probably if you're studying the art. And if you're studying the art, you're learning about the history of it, you're learning about how it was made, all that kinds of things. And that kind of stuff is gonna come with learning about the history of the art. You know what I mean? So um
But I almost think that like as a musician, or maybe solo artist or something like that, if you're in that industry, I think it also comes with looking into a little bit of history, and it might have a bit of culture, tied to whatever you're researching, but
So
it's not. Yeah,
look, I care about. This is gonna sound
it doesn't
selfish.
mean that you
I
you
care
know.
about I care about learning about the history and all of that
Yeah,
in service to what I'm creating. So
Yeah,
I
that's
will,
fine.
like for example, I learned about
yeah,
the Romantic period and that sort of stuff, and how music is constructed by those previous composers, how they make it. Because I know that by learning about that, it's gonna positively influence the music I create.
yeah.
So yeah,
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 no,
no,
I
that's
think,
completely fine.
and I definitely agree because it depends on what your intentions are. For example, if you're like wanting to, create authentic, African music, then you're obviously gonna study that. What did Africans usually do in that genre and all that kind of stuff. So
Absolutely.
but
depends on your
my
intentions.
approach isn't to create
Yeah,
authentic cultural music at all.
yeah.
It's just to create authentic music from
Yeah.
the inside.
Mm, interesting.
And so, when I think when you're focusing on I mean, I guess, when you blow up, and I guess when people write about you, then they might mention,
Oh yeah.
about you being black and like
Yeah,
what
it
this
probably
does.
will, but I won't like. I don't care.
Yeah, yeah. So that's probably something that the people are gonna carry in mind, not you. But yeah,
That's true.
so yeah, separating the culture from it to make and focusing on the art, I think, is very great. It's something I'm even doing now with my current art.
Mm.
Kendrick Lamar has a lyric that says, he says, "If your ethnicity," he said, "we're gonna talk about a lot of things that concern you, only you." And so me, when I hear that, I take that and what I hear, especially in regards to the art that I'm making now, is forget about your ethnicity, forget about your race, your gender, your religion, your sexuality, all of that. We're gonna talk about you as a person and the kinds of choices you make. You get what I mean? And
Mm.
that's I think it's something to that I carry in mind. Well, I think it's something to carry in mind when going into the kind of art that I've been making now, presently. You get what I'm saying? It's like a kind of like prologue kind of line, I guess, before heading into it. You get what I mean?
Yeah, it sounds quite interesting actually.
Yeah,
Mm. It sounds like it comes from deep within, obviously, which, yeah, yeah.
absolutely.